And now, ladies and gentlemen, after this powerful session, it's time to move into our next speaker for the day. He is the co-founder and CEO of EcoX, who will be speaking on the technology and means of EPR compliance. He's a seasoned industry leader with over 25 years of experience spanning industry sales, IT solutions, e-marketplace development with a master's degree in chemistry and extensive expertise in supply chain management. He has consistently demonstrated his ability to drive innovation and profitability across diverse business ventures. At EcoX, his vision extends beyond just business goals to achieve sustainable and impactful solutions for waste management and is also a board expertise and passion for sustainability. Akshay Rath, that his name is, continues to lead EcoX toward a sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the amazing Shri Akshay Rath as he comes up on stage. Welcome, sir. I'm going to ask you to make your way to the podium, and we'll give you the stage to you. Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for Mr. Akshay. Thank you, sir.
Very good morning. I believe most of the attendees here from supply chain maybe a little new for them to understand the intricacies of the compliance terms as envisaged in Plastic Waste Management 2016 and amendments thereof. It might be a little boring subject, but I think being a compliance, we don't have a choice. My presentation will basically cover these points. For the new people who are not familiar with EPR, EPR stands for Extended Producer Responsibility, and which follows polluters pay norm. If you have used plastic as a packaging to sell your products and generated post-consumer waste, it is your responsibility to collect back same quality and quantity of plastic waste from the market, and based on whether they are recyclable or not recyclable, has to recycle, along with traceability documents, submit to CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, as a proof. Otherwise, there are hefty penalties envisaged called environmental compensation, and it is as high as 7,000 rupees a ton. So typically, if you look at paint industry, these are the figures you can see on the slide. Only 35 paint industry entities are registered in CPCB portal. And if you look at, very interestingly, top 3 paint companies together has a target of 90% of the entire EPR target for the industry for the registered base. And the numbers are shown here. Again, the categories of plastic waste divided into 4 parts, basically, category 1, 2, 3, 4. Category 1 are called rigid, which is primarily PET bottles, SDP kind of products. And flexible is category 2, which are PP, then your LDP, and other plastic waste. Third is basically called multi-layer packaging, wherein it should be a multi-layer. B, it should have at least one layer which is other than plastic. So that is the basic nomenclature what CPCB follows, and based on the procurement of the raw material or packaging goods of yours, the target is fixed automatically in CPCB portal. This is a very interesting slide. Those who are already understand EPR compliance norms and the dynamics on which the price of EPR credit depends. If you look at category 1, 40.9% inventory is with top 10 PWP. And when I say PWP, they are basically recyclers, plastic waste processors, out of which category 2 is almost 54%, and category 3 is almost 69%. But the reality and the interesting part is in category 2 and 3, if you look at top two companies, they are blacklisted because of unethical practices by CPCB and court case is going on. That way it is very skewed. Now category one, it is an established market, been in this industry for the last maybe 70, 80 years, where PET bottle granules are made and fibers are made and sold to textile industry. But if you look at category 2 and category 3, the recyclers primarily are not under GST ambit. Therefore, there are very, very small recyclers who are doing probably 5 or 10 metric tons per day. But the large recyclers, if you look at, their inventory is very, very high, and it's really tough to comply your category 2 and 3 category for recycling. So second part is called EOL. So as I said, if the material is recyclable, you recycle it. If it's not, then it has to be incinerated and designated entities which are been prescribed by CPCB. The foremost one is cement plants, then your waste to energy plants who manufacture electricity and sell in the local grid, then your waste to oil plants, then you have very recently added is road construction companies, where they add almost 8 to 10% of plastic waste to bitumen. And typically in a road of 1 kilometer, around 10%, that is almost say 10 tons of bitumen is used, out of which probably 8 to 10% in the plastic waste. If that is really used and implemented in India, whatever big landfills you see across major towns, that can be taken care of. So this is called end of life process, wherein if you look at category 1, the top 10 are having inventory of 8.2%, category 2 whooping 66%, and category 3 almost 82%. Primarily, if you look at 3 groups, one is Jindal Group having more than 7 to 8 plants, Abelian Group majorly in Gujarat having almost 10 plants, then Re-Sustainability or Ramki, the old name, they have majorly in Delhi and Andhra Pradesh. Apart from, they have multiple processing plants for hazardous goods and medical waste. So, as I said, based on procurement of your plastic packaging, 2 years mean average is taken as your target. That was till last year. So there are certain new things which CPCB has added as external or additional targets. One is minimum recycling targets. So till last year, because the end of life or co-process certificates are less costlier than the recycling certificates, so most of the manufacturing entities, to comply their EPR target, they bought co-processing certificates from virtual wallet to wallet as managed and monitored by Central Pollution Control Board, and they complied the process. But from this year, government has made mandatory of recycling. For category 1, it should be at least 50%, which goes 10% higher every year till 80% in next 4 years. That is what is the proposal envisaged. Similarly, for category 2, minimum it should be 30% recycled. That is where I am relating, when the top 10 or top 3 are sitting on 60% of the inventory, out of which the top 2 are blacklisted, think about the perspective, how do we comply for category 2, category 3 recycling needs? This is a question. Being a national committee representative in West Worth Committee of CII, we have created enough sound or buzz to government that it should be relaxed. Let's hope government comes out with some kind of relaxed way out for Cat 2 and Cat 3. So for category 3, from 30%, it says the target could almost be 60% by 27-28. Now coming back to the process of creating, credits in the wallet, obviously the documents which are captured online is the traceability document. It could be the taxable invoice, loading bill, unloading bill, in certain places, photographs of loaded, unloaded trucks, so on and so forth. But now, government has made mandatory last year. The other than the procurement invoices, you will also have to upload the sales invoices. Even then, government have, due to manpower shortage, didn't audit. That is where a lot of unethical practices came out and which was found by government, and then many of them after random inspection were blacklisted. And you will be surprised, the penalty was almost 350 crores laid on 4 PWPs across India and 4 states. So now, very recently, a month back, government circular said that we will have to upload GST e-invoice, which captures from the QR code, the HSN code, and other parameters, so that this audit will definitely put a lot of pressure on the supply side, wherein majority of small recyclers who are not under either ambit of GST or they are so small that they are not following GST practices, that will adversely impact category 2 and category 3 recycling inventory. And that is where the problem is. CPCB has come out already with a tender for empaneling auditors and who will be entitled to do audits on these PWPs going forward. Second additional measure what added to the target is called use of recycled plastic content, what you call as UREPs. So typically, other than giving you a restriction definitely to meet the recycling content, you will also have to use your producers or your back-end suppliers should at least use the percentage as mentioned in the table as recycled plastic content for the product they supply to you. This is again an area of concern where companies like Indian Oil, Reliance, BPCL, they have already mitigated a lot of IT processes and portals wherein they could relate and align with their recyclers as well as their converters and can relate well in the batch mode and prove that recycled content is being used in the product packaging. Last but not the least, very important, is obligation for reuse for only brand owners. There are 2 categories, below 4.9 kg packaging and above 4.9 kg packaging, wherein the numbers are given, which you can see at second slide, second table. In India, there are very less implementation in terms of technology which is used in waste management, other than use of blockchain and typical supply side portals. But if you look at in advanced countries, there are equipments used which are sensor based, which can do to the extent of 85 to 90% accuracy sorting in landfills. They have been designed in such a way they can differentiate between various forms of plastic waste, A. B, also it gives you insight in terms of based on the waste, the penetration of brand to panchayat level. So the kind of active interest taken by a few of the Gujarat-based new IIT engineers, they have been studying this under AI and ML help, and they can tell you where exactly your product is getting sold at tertiary level. And again, it can also differentiate between a very interesting aspect of whether it's a product of BATA or BITA or BAATA. So you can know spurious materials, Bisleri, BISSLERE. So you can have data with proof on those sensor-based sorting machines where you can know exactly where spurious or duplicate products are being sold by unscrupulous traders. Second is collection system, that is smart waste bins. So we all know waste bins, there are across marketplaces, but the smart waste bins are basically sensor based with the help of camera, can allow only admitted objectives into it, which will have a crusher inside to crush and accommodate more volume, as well as cutters. Apart from that, these are also to create interest for the users, have some kind of features wherein the quantity or number of material what you put into the dustbin can also give you certain points where we can redeem those points in various e-commerce platforms. So these are an in thing, and Delhi kind of places, Bombay kind of places, there are so smart bins are already, what do you call, you can see in use. Last is waste tracking system. Obviously, because the government is not able to do spot audits as of now, and look at the volume. For typical numbers, if I give, plastic EPR target as per current CPCB portal, it's close to 43 lakhs, so 4.3 million tons. Out of 4.3 million tons, category 1 is something around 1.8 million tons, category 2 around 1.5, and rest will be category 3. So category 1 anyway, age has been taken care of because you can't see plastic bottle or a mineral water bottle lying on the road for more than 10-15 minutes. Somebody will pick it up because it's attached to a commercial value. It is being sold through informal segment from rag picker to kavadiwala to trader to scrap dealer to recycler and then back to textile industry. It is part of circular economy, as we all know. But real culprit is your MLP. That is what choking your drains. That is where not getting segregated at a house level. So until unless you segregate them, you will not be able to really treat them chemically with different melting points. So there are new technologies coming up which can address this problem. And these granules being used for plastic manufacturers, maybe in secondary market like furniture manufacturer, gamla manufacturers, or say typically the MLP after wash and cut, they are converted to threads, and there are a lot of small decorative items and packages are being managed by self-help groups in various states, empowered by various local NGOs, and those products are getting sold in market at a better price because it has got an environmental value into it. So people with consciousness for the environment, they are buying that in a higher cost. And typically these are also getting exported. It could be laptop bags, it could be t-shirts. We all, I think, have heard that Modi ji being presented by recycler, coats manufactured from fibers from bottles. So that way, if you look at this eco-friendly products has got better market pricing than the normal products. So waste tracking system is basically, now if you look at many of the large waste management companies have started using blockchain. And this blockchain will basically help them to give better data sanctity, A. B, because it is on a blockchain, it will not be tampered or destroyed or not be deleted. So that kind of long-term data access will give you for future audits so that you know exactly what truck has carried what kind of material to the recycler from starting point of municipality jurisdiction with municipality endorsement to eBay bill and to the recycling unit, and how much production has been done by using that kind of waste material. So that the vehicle number, eBay bill, and other related input figures are not used as a duplicated forged document by any of the other transactions in the entire plastic ecosystem. So that is where a blockchain gives you that kind of data security. So these two I have already explained. So like any other industry, again in paint manufacturing industry, also if you look at, it is a buzzword, as I think previous speakers has already mentioned about sustainability. So one of the main reason why government has come out with EPR and creating the funds are basically how do we ensure that most of our materials which has got certain value should not be gone to incineration. It should be definitely part of the circular economy. So government have started giving subsidies for setting up new recycling unit. Primarily now, very recently, new circular has come out from MOEF and CC, wherein it gives almost 75 lakh rupees as a grant for setting up new units in coastal belt, primarily for fishery nets. So there are a lot of activities happening from ministry as well as UD department and your Ganga project, that is from Ministry of Water Resources. So typically, if you look at the last icon, it says take back program. This is nothing but called deposit refund system, DSR, wherein I can give a QR code to a product which is sold to a customer at a higher price than the market price. And once the customer returns back the material, you pay him the amount what he has paid as an extra. So that process is monitored by a QR code. Typically, if you look at many of the pilgrimage sites, like Kedarnath, Badrinath, then Tirupati, then Vaishno Devi, these are the places where POCs have been done with the funding from CSR activities of companies like ITC, Britannia, Colgate, and Coke. And very recently, Goa, I think, a major town has been given as, as a larger POC to be done for mineral water bottles. So there are a couple of companies in India who have started doing that. And the beauty of this system is like old age, if people who are more than 40, 50 years old, from childhood and village even, the guy takes a higher money. Once you return the bottle, he pays back the deposit money. Same thing, it is very similar to that, but supported by technology. I think I could see there are, from the different presentations, a lot of discussion is going and design level changes are expected to come, where paint packaging also can be done by manufacturing eco-friendly paints and also using eco-friendly packaging, or it should be bio-packaging kind of materials. And obviously, as I see, paint industry uses category 1 almost 90% more. And that they are already into circular economy. I believe at least the 20 liter or 5 liter plus jars or carboys which are being used probably can be reused so that it can also help the circular economy. And hardly there are no requirement of MLP, which is the biggest culprit, going to our riverine system, impacting aquacultural life. So here you can look at collaboration with third-party recyclers. As of now, there are two entities which are helping you to meet your compliance norms. One is called WMA, Waste Management Agencies or Advisors. Another is directly PWP. You can have a seamless transaction from a PWP online from virtual wallet to wallet in CPCB portal if the quantities can be supplied by a single entity. A. B. Recyclers, obviously, they look for immediate payment, which a WMA can give, extend you certain credits. C. Recycler may not have the kind of knowledge or competency to give you the traceability documents which are required. And larger companies, primarily MNCs, they practice with the code of conduct what they have globally, which are more stronger than the CPCB norms. There, a WMA can help you creating your sustainability roadmap along with compliance of EPR. Today, EPR is plastic I'm talking about, but there are items like e-waste, rubber, tire, battery, spent oil, aluminum cans, sanitary napkins. These are already added into EPR and new draft legislation are coming. And there are separate independent portals under CPCB domain name where all these informations are managed. I believe being an organization or enterprise, we are really conscious building their own sustainability by putting an effort in right direction. They can, in a long term, create a more impactful brand and relate to relate to consumers. So could also generate new revenue streams for the non-plastic packaging development. So last couple of slides I have added just to make you aware. EcoX is a company based in Delhi where we founded 4-5 years back. And cumulatively, we have done transaction of 1 million tons of credits across 430 odd brands. We have a network of almost 20,000 odd waste collectors across pan India. And those materials are sent to more than 1,900 recyclers spread across. And being a part of our group company, we have 4 recycling units, 3 in Rajasthan, 1 in Abu Dhabi. We are part of BLS group, and the flagship companies are BLS International into visa processing, BLS Ecotech into PET to fiber processing, then BLS Polymer, they are making PVC compounds and optic fiber compounds, then BLS University in Jind. So this is larger part of BLS group, and EcoX is the brand name, and the company legal name is Karma Ecotech Limited. Already made it a public limited company. There are typically 3 tech products. I will not much take time. We have built a total procure to pay portal, wherein like you are doing your procurement, it's integrated with e-auction, which can do dynamic negotiation with your external service providers or vendors, and entire RFQ process, quotation process you can complete. You can solicit bids, you can download automated comparators, and if required to do negotiation, then RFP agreement signing or contract signing. Then the project module wherein all the information is captured from the sourcing point, from the municipal jurisdiction can be uploaded and data can be filled in. If the large data is there, can be done bulk uploaded. And the whole process then goes to a blockchain converted to a QR code, and the QR code will give you on scanning almost repository of 20 odd documents, divided into 2 parts, static documents, dynamic documents. Dynamic documents are those which are attached to a particular vehicle. Static documents are the licenses and certificates they have from respective state governments and central governments, including CPCB registration numbers and their CTO of the state government for air, water, clearance, so on and so forth. Second portal, we are also helping industrial enterprises to ask for on-demand waste disposal system, wherein you can call and take help of my mobile application and ask for a vehicle to be placed for the material which you want to, or garbage which you want to clear from your factories. We are giving services to 150 odd plants of Tata Consumer and Nourishco across pan India. We deploy almost 10 to 12 trucks a day for collecting typically 8 to 10 tons of either waste material, could be packaging material, could be garbage, could be expired materials which goes for hazardous treatment, so on and so forth. Third one, we have a marketplace, B2B marketplace, wherein the registered member de facto can also put his buy and sell leads. And the beauty of the system is buy and sell leads automatically gets matched by the system and triggers alert which can help you if there is a match, and then you can do the transaction online. And it caters to almost all the waste materials which comes under EPR ambit as prescribed by Central Pollution Control Board. So typically services what we provide is expert consultancy on EPR space, and we help you to get registered. You can register as a producer, as a manufacturer, as a brand owner, as an importer, and you can file your annual reports peacefully. And obviously, we are one of the companies having done 1 million tons of transactions. Obviously, we are one of the companies with very, very optimized prices. The companies like Reliance, Uflex, Dabur, Colgate, Tata Consumer, there are a few names who are my clients for the last 3-4 years. Thank you very much. I can have any questions if you have, I can answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akshay. A big round of applause for Mr. Akshay. Come on, everyone, put your hands together. Thank you, sir. As a token of our appreciation, I'd like to request Mr. Anirudh Sen from Berger Paints to please come up on stage and hand over a memento to Mr. Akshay. Thank you so much, sir. Keep the applause coming, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.